Hello and welcome to the second in a series of 3 short Breaking the Mold videos. In the first video, I explained how we can create the environment that allows the workforce to engage by giving them the feedback that allows them to feel respected and valued. In this video, I want to think about how the current directive behaviour of management creates the environment that causes the workforce to disengage. Ironically, it's this management behaviour that most managers believe constitutes good management. Managers believe they ought to tell the workforce what to do. Managers believe they ought to be able to discipline the workforce. Managers believe they ought to exert such control over the workforce that the workforce can be made to do anything that management want. It's these misconceptions that we're here to expose. We are breaking their mold. I want to tell you a story about what happens when someone tries to change the way that the crew operate by telling them what to do, the consequences of that, and what we were able to do to recover from that situation. Now, the story takes place in Venezuela on a rig where I was working in the middle of the jungle. I knew we were supposed to be drilling ahead, and I heard the rig stop drilling. Now, I'm not a drilling engineer, so I couldn't do anything. So I carried on working, and after 30 minutes or so, I heard the rig start up again. After a minute, I looked out and I could see the tool pusher coming down from the rig floor. And that was an angry man. He was livid. At that distance, I could almost see the steam coming out of his ears. I saw him turn to look at me, and then he started coming across in my direction. And I thought, there's nothing much I can do here. So quick as a flash, I put the kettle on and waited. The tool pusher burst into my office. I've told them time and time again, I've told them to stop breaking those dies. They continue breaking them. We are running out. We are truly stuffed. I made a cup of coffee, sit down, and asked the tool pusher to tell me exactly what the problem was. So he explained to me, when we're drilling through rock, and we have a bit, and that bit actually chews its way through the rock. That bit is attached to the drilling rig by lengths of drill pipe. These are 30-foot lengths of drill pipe. As we drill down, the drill pipe goes into the ground, and every so often we have to stop, pick up a new length of drill pipe and drill it in. Then we continue drilling, then pick up another one, screw that in, and continue. To pick up this drill pipe, which is steel, we have a clamp, and the clamp has got very hard metal dies on the face. They're designed so that when they pick up that drill pipe, the clamp digs into the steel of the drill pipe so that when it picks it up, it doesn't slip, and when it rotates it, it doesn't slip. Our problem was that part of the wells we were drilling was horizontal. So for a lot of the time, this drill pipe was actually working on its side. And when that happens, the joints on the drill pipe wear away because they're continually being rotated in contact with the rock. To get over this, we put a hard metal banding around the joints, and that prevents the joints from wearing away. Our problem comes when you pick up a length of drill pipe with hard metal banding on it. If you don't position the clamp just right, the dies on the clamp will contact the hard metal banding on the drill pipe. When that happens, 2 things. First is it doesn't dig in, so the pipe might slip. The second thing is that because there's no give at all between the 2 lots of hard metal, the dies on the clamp will break. And when that happens, we have to bring the clamp down to the deck, replace the die and then continue drilling. That was the 30-minute delay. The other part of the problem was that these dies are so hard, the metal is so exotic that it can't be made in South America. These dies have to come from Germany. And when we run out, they've got to be flown in. So not only do we have the expense of the dies themselves, but also the journey to get them into the jungle in South America. This was the problem that the tool pusher told me. So I said, I will see what I can do. Now, this breaking of dies is something that is an accepted part of the operation, an accepted expense. It happens every month or two. It happened in November. Then it happened again in January. And then it happened in February. And February was when the rig manager spotted, hang on, that's once every month now. That's becoming too expensive. We can't support that level of breakages. And that's when he told the tool pusher to tell the crews to stop doing it. Now, the only thing that the tool pusher knew how to do was to tell the crews to change the way that they were working so that they didn't break the dies anymore. Having told the crews broke another one. Then they broke another one. In February, they broke 5 more dies. So in February, 6 dies they had broken. And every single time the tool pusher had gone up to the drillers involved and said, don't do this. Then they broke another one. He was becoming livid. He was beginning to think that they were breaking these dies deliberately to annoy him. When I met him, we had coffee at the end of March. In March, they had broken 7 more dies. That's why the tool pusher was feeling so absolutely livid, because as far as he could see, they were deliberately defying. I told the tool pusher, leave the problem with me, but do one favour for me. Please don't speak to the crew about breaking dies anymore. He thought about that. I put his hands up and said, okay, I'll leave it with you. Now at that time, before every shift, I used to speak to the crews for 15 minutes. And those 15 minutes I used to collect the ideas and give the feedback that was allowing them to engage. What have you done? What went well? What went badly? How can we maintain the good things and prevent the bad things from happening again? These were the ideas that allowed me to give them the feedback that allowed them to engage. So the next time I saw them, I asked them about the dies. And I said, what is it about these dies that they keep breaking? What's wrong with what we're doing that allows these dies to keep breaking? These guys told me in minute detail exactly what the problem was and exactly what the solution was. From what they were saying, it was obviously that they knew exactly what was going on. So I said, do you think that you could write a procedure that would allow us to use this clamp without breaking dies? And they said, yes, absolutely. So they started writing the procedure. Then every time another crew arrived, they became involved until all the crews had become involved and eventually presented the completed procedure. I took that procedure to the tool pusher and said, here you go, this is the crew's procedure. Tell me what the difference is between this one and the company procedure. So the tool pusher read their procedure and his face got redder and redder and eventually burst out, I told you, there is no difference between this procedure and the company procedure. They knew all along what they were doing. I said, no, you haven't quite got it here. What is the difference between the procedure that they wrote and the procedure that you gave them? And he thought a bit about this, and then he said, well, the procedure they wrote is theirs. So they will run that procedure without me having to tell them what to do. But the procedure that I gave them, the company procedure, is just stuff that I'm trying to make them do. I think he was beginning to get it. I took the crew's procedure back and I said the tool pushers improved it. He came with me and congratulated them on the quality of their work. Now I knew the tool pusher was beginning to get it. There was no more breakages that month. There was no more breakages the next month. In fact, there were no more breakages in all the time that I was on that rig. Now, the rig manager had inadvertently created this problem by telling the tool pusher to fix it. The only way that the tool pusher knew how to fix this was to tell the crews what to do. But telling the crews not to break any more dies actually created the environment that caused them to break even more. When the tool pusher stopped telling them what to do, or stopped telling them what he thought they should be doing, and instead allowed them to tell him how they thought the job should be done, he had allowed them to engage, and having engaged, there were no more broken dies. Disengagement is not the fault of the workforce. Disengaged behaviour of the workforce is a direct result of the directive behaviour of management. One of the reasons that this process is called breaking the mold is that we get rid of the old assumptions that perpetuate the directive and controlling behaviour of management and replace them with the supportive, inclusive behaviours that allow the workforce to engage and produce the exceptional performance that we have already seen. In order to do something different, in order to achieve something different, we have to break the mold. Thank you very much for listening.